In this video, I want to have a look at some different methods for fastening off our amigurumi projects. Some that leave a more obvious or clear space where we've fastened off, and one which is an invisible fasten off, where it's quite hard to tell where that round ends. So let's have a look first at the most simple way to fasten off your project. And that is we're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop on our hook and tighten it up. Now, this method of fastening off works very well when you're working in rows, but when we're working in rounds, we end up with this big step down. So there's a few options for minimizing that. Let's have a look at some. Our next option for fastening off is going to reduce that step a little bit. So what we're going to do is pop our hook into the next stitch, grab our yarn and pull a loop all the way through. So doing a slip stitch into that next stitch, and then fastening off. So yarning over and pulling that all the way through and tightening it up. Now you can see that step, it is much smaller because we've done that slip stitch, but you can still very clearly see where we've fastened off there. Let's have a look now at what's called the invisible fasten off. So we've completed our last stitch and I've cut my yarn tail. What I'm going to do now is actually pull the yarn all the way through that loop. Then grab your needle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place our hook not through the next stitch in our project, but the one after that. Pop it all the way through out the back and pull it a little bit tight. And then we're going to go back into the same stitch. So back into the middle of this last stitch here. Now, when we pull that a little bit tight, you can see that it fastens off, but it's almost invisible. So if I were to spin this round a few times, it's pretty hard to tell where that fastening off is happening. And then you can weave that yarn back into the back of your project so that you can't see it. And as you fiddle with it a little bit more, it evens itself out and you can hardly tell where that fastening off is. So depending what your project is, if you're going to be sewing pieces together, then something like this where we did the slip stitch might be enough. But if you're really going to see what you're doing, then you want to try this invisible fasten off so it's much less obvious.